Hello and welcome. It is 6 o'clock. It is Friday and it is the 6 o'clock club. I shall turn that off because I always forget to do that. And welcome to the 6 o'clock club. It's Friday. We have Kyle with us again. Hello, Kyle. How's your week been?
Hello, Andy. It's been a relatively busy week. It's trying to get my backstory together for our Shadow Dark campaign, plan it out, see what the other players are doing, trying to figure out our connections, and try and figure out how I'm actually going to survive.
Yeah, lots of things really. It's been an incredible sort of busy week for me. A number of things happening, obviously, with our um, the Kickstarter, the Riddle of Rockwood Bog, sort of going live on Saturday, and then the Shadow Dark Kickstarter coming to an end on Thursday. It's been insane. Lots of really cool things happening, but sort of juggling all of those has been draining, really. Draining. We're also coming up, certainly in the UK, to kind of sort of 2 weeks of school holidays. It's kind of Easter. Good Friday is in, I think, next week, a week's time. Um, and it is April tomorrow. So we have just come through the first quarter and about to enter a new quarter, the fourth month of the year. It's um, it's amazing where all of the time has disappeared to. I was saying to Kyle earlier that January for me really dragged with the OGL debacle with Wizards of the Coast. Just seems that every day was like trudging through mud, trying to work out what the hell was going on. But as soon as that was all sort of cleared, the last 2 months have just flown by. So tonight we're going to talk about last night's game, and then we're going to talk about this weekend's games. There's going to be a few sort of little changes to them because we've had quite a few people postpone. Some of the players are away on holiday. Some of the players have had an intense work week and can't really make them. Um, so I'm going to try and think about putting something else on that we'll chat about in a little while. But first and foremost, last night was a very fun game as always. It was Icebreakers. Let's see if we can call this up. Um, we didn't have the full contingent of players. We had two people. One was off sick. The other one had work commitments. But we did have four players at the table, which was very sweet. And we had Em and Sarah, James, Michael, and Jack all playing. And it is very much a very role play orientated campaign. They're quite powerful, 12th level, but they've got some very powerful magic items. They've got some vestiges between them, vestiges of divergence. These are legendary artifacts in the world of Exandria, the world that Critical Role is set in. So they are punching above their weight. But it doesn't seem to matter in the fact that it is a very nice, interactive, character driven campaign. And last night, M's character Flo was trying to retrieve one of these gems that will fit into her large axe. Each of these gems powers it up, and it's akin to kind of the reality stones, the reality gauntlet, but it's a reality axe sort of thing, really. Or the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet, to give it its correct name. The reason why I was saying reality is the red gem that they got was able to bend reality. Um, and they dealt with the initial threat and they managed to get to the top of the tower. And there was this poor beggar that had been given the stone by Flo's adopted parents years ago. But he was afflicted with body odor and was constantly sort of sweating. And what had happened, they uncovered this in the story, is that he finally just wished that he wouldn't sweat so much, and in doing so, because he had no real control over the stone, it summoned the breath of the Wendigo, which literally froze him solid. And yeah, he wasn't sweating anymore, so it was all good, apart from the fact that he had been totally and utterly frozen to death. And it was quite grim experience for the characters as they uncovered the storyline, and uh, there was a lot of very nice but intense role playing that went around them uncovering this, and it didn't end up in conflict against the breath of the Wendigo. They managed to resolve the situation peacefully and managed to get hold of the red gem. And now they are off to the Shadowfell, which is always one of my favourite places to run a game in, the Shadowfell. I've run several games in there, and the players at first really like it and embrace it because it is dark and grim and depressing and horrible. After they spend a few sessions in there, it's I never want to go back. Let me out of here now. It is terrible. So not so much spoilers, but it's going to be interesting to see how the icebreakers take to that. They have some quite important deeds to do in the Shadowfell, and there are whispers that maybe a certain individual by the name of Vecna is aware or is becoming aware of them making moves that he might not appreciate. You were nodding there when I mentioned the Shadowfell, Kyle. Are you having some flashbacks, or have you visited in someone else's game?
No, it was with the nice ones when we went in
Oh
or
yes,
going to Shroud's realm.
yeah, the nice ones. That was an adventuring party and a half. It was very very cool. Um, yeah, I do like my Shadowfell, but I do know I need to rein it in somewhat because it can get just very bleak, and it's fun for a while, but then we need to liven things up again.
You just
Um,
need to give us a travelling band of Vistani to go with.
yeah, absolutely. They should hopefully get you in and out, or maybe take you to Barovia instead. Who knows? Who knows? So that was last night's game. Big thanks to all our players. It was tremendous fun, and it was very good when they started picking up on the subtleties that the Lord of Whispers, the Lord of Secrets, had been named as possibly one of the threats. So, with that out of the way, we'll talk about Friday's game. I talk about this an awful lot because it's a weekly game. So, I do it sort of on Friday when we go into the game, and then I do it on the recap as well. Friday is our 5th edition collateral damage game. They are very high level, 18th now. And we've got Ben and Charlotte, Michael, Stuart, Richard, Ryan, and V in this. And they have descended down into the jungles of Cult. They are currently in Faerun. Um, they have passed through a couple of sort of outposts and forts and are now into the proper interior. They have been persuaded by their guide, Eku, to go to, I think it's called Malbala or Mbala, and there is supposedly a witch, a hag there by the name of Nanny Poo Poo, who is doing evil things, and the guide has witnessed what collateral damage are capable of, which is fundamentally collateral damage, and have decided to inflict collateral damage on Nana or Nanny Poo Poo. So we'll see how that goes. I'm I'm very interested. It's quite nice. The a lot of the inspiration for this is obviously taken from the Tomb of Annihilation book, and as I have stated before, this is set after that campaign has finished. So there's no soulmonger going on. There's a different threat that they are seeking out. So I'm doing that in maybe 50 minutes. So I'm very excited to carry on our weekly game. And it has to be said, it's got a Friday night feel. Everybody has finished work. Everybody wants to sort of kick back. And it's a real fun beer and sort of pretzels game. There's role playing that goes on. There's a lot of collateral damage that goes on. And it's a real fun game to be involved in. So with that, we then do move to Saturday's games. Now, very few of these are actually on. Normally, I run 4 games on Saturday, but the Curse of Strahd has been postponed because they are now in their end game. They are playing cat and mouse with Strahd in Castle Ravenloft, and certainly Ian has gone on holiday. And I think one or two of the other players were finding it a little bit difficult. And because it's coming to the finale, we just said, yeah, we'll postpone it really. So I'll miss that, but for good reasons, and we will continue it in 2 weeks' time. And then we rapidly follow on from that Tomb of Annihilation, which has got Casper, Gordon, Marcus, and Davin. They are 2 in the end game. This game is the game that is going on this Saturday tomorrow. They are getting close now to dealing with the big threat, the big bad in Tomb of Annihilation. There might be a few more sessions left. Depends how rapidly they work their way through that. It's a thrilling adventure. I've really enjoyed it. A mixture of hex exploration through the jungles of Cult, and then descending down into what is a dungeon, the Tomb of Annihilation. Very well written. Obviously, if you don't like hex crawlers and you don't like dungeons, perhaps not the game for you. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it and thought, like all of these books, they take work. You have to read it, understand it, modify it to your table. But I thought it was a well put together campaign. Then the other 2 games are not going on. We normally have Critical Role Diplomats, and that is Ben, Charlotte, Mel, Doug, and Nathan. It ended on a massive cliffhanger that I can't actually mention because it's a cliffhanger, and some of the players had to leave the game slightly earlier, so they don't know exactly what happened. But unfortunately, a couple of the players can't make it, so we've decided to postpone it because of that cliffhanger. Really, it's a shame. I will miss that one too, but nothing can be done about it. And then finally, Call of Cthulhu. I'm gutted about this, but there's nothing that can be done about it. Again, people are on holiday. It sometimes happens. We're going to have to postpone it. But this is a campaign, Masks, and it's a global spanning campaign. And it's important that we have everybody that's involved in it round the table to witness all of the information, because it's quite a complex campaign. And if you miss a session, you might well sort of lose track of what's going on. So there we go. I'm thinking very much that I might do something Saturday night. I might do a live stream, Shadow Dark live stream, where I don't know, either do a solo dungeon or something like that. Maybe play with the rules, maybe do something. I'm not sure as yet. Depends on a number of things, but if you are in our Discord, keep an eye out in our Discord, because something something might be happening. There might be a surprise or two. It is April the 1st as well, so I'm quite keen to perhaps do something then. Maybe that's why everybody's postponed. It's April the 1st, and they don't want me to jokingly kill all of their characters. So that is Saturday, or was Saturday. Is Saturday no longer? We fundamentally got Tomb of Annihilation, and then we'll see. Sunday's even stranger. So Sunday should be Eberron. Eberron can't go ahead because they are at a climactic point again, and a couple of our players are out of town. They're going to another gaming convention elsewhere and won't be back in time. So we're having to postpone that. So I've done some Shadow Dark Sunday specials, which I know, Kyle, you've mentioned that you are interested in.
Yep.
And yeah, I've started doing some obviously work on that. They're semi sort of prepped already, and it's in an old campaign setting called Eisenfaust that will be setting it. And I did a little YouTube video today of Beggar's Roost, the starting point of it. And I think you said you found it quite flavoursome or interesting.
Yeah, it's given a lot of personality, despite the fact it was a very short video to that. The Beggar's Roost. It's painted quite a picture in my mind.
Splendid. Yeah, I think the video's only like 6 minutes or something, but yeah, trying to communicate that kind of information in a short period of time. Hopefully, you've got kind of visuals in your mind at the very least now for it. Um, the game itself, I think I've got a. Here you go. It's called Eisenfaust. The Dark Ages just got darker. A Shadow Dark West Marshes style campaign. For those of you who are playing my mythicals already, you will know the style that we're talking about. Each session is going to be a one shot, having a start, middle, and end. And you will gain experience only in the games that you're playing in. The one shots will be linked, so there'll be a ongoing sort of plot line, and it'll all be based initially around Beggar's Roost, which is kind of, I'll call it a hub. It's kind of the settlement that all the players will be setting out from, exploring the Green Grim, which is this dark forest that Beggar's Roost is hidden in, and potentially pushing even further beyond the Green Grim into the Badlands. Trying to stay away from the church as well, who have got witch hunters, arcane magics do exist, but they are banned by the orders of the church. Um, it's going to be a fun setting where you are going to try and get away with things, and always looking over your shoulder. Who can you trust? So very, very excited for that. We've got one session scheduled for Sunday already, which has sold out, which is fantastic. We're potentially going to do another one. If that doesn't fire, we'll be looking at doing these games at random moments when other games get postponed. We'll shout out in our Discord, oh, in 2 days' time, so and so game's not happening. Anybody up for a Eisenfaust session? So there'll be plenty of them going on. We'll still be doing Mythical as well. Just don't worry, Mythical players, that will be still going on. But it's nice to have a choice and different flavors as options out there. So very much looking forward to that happening as well. So that brings us to the end, not of the 6 o'clock club, but what we're chatting about, the games. But it is April, so There's a lot of things we've got planned for April. I'm busily writing alongside Matt to get some of our own sort of concepts out there on drive through or maybe on Kickstarter. So you might see something being launched at the back end of April for that. But as well as that, we've got as well as all of our private games that happen on a weekly basis, we've got this schedule going on April 2023. So these are the actual plays and the non-daily videos that I'm putting out. Every day you can watch out for a Shadow Dark sort of daily, which is anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes long. I'll be doing quite a few more of those, expanding on the Eisenhower setting and um, trying to blend it with Shadow Dark. Once I get the full PDF, I kind of want it here on my computer. Once I get that, though, I will be doing some in-depth looks at Shadow Dark core rules as well. We're expecting that sort of mid-April from the Kickstarter. So apart from that and the Captain Dove videos versus the game, which is currently Sons of the Forest that I'm putting out on a daily basis, this is what else we've got. So first and foremost, on Wednesday the 5th, it's not going to be live, but we'll be doing a pre-record of Tales from the Smoke with Shadow Dark. The prologue video and the session 0 already up on YouTube. You can probably check them out in the comment section below. Kyle, you're playing in that. Are you excited? It's
Very much so. Just the session 0 and prologue. Time absolutely flew by. It was an absolute blast. I really can't wait to actually get into it and see what mischief we can get up with and what horrors you throw at us.
yeah, it's an interesting one because the Smoke is a role play environment, so there needs to be some role play. So if there's any people that have just got the rules for Shadow Dark, don't be disappointed if they don't necessarily dive straight into a dungeon. Um, the payoff will be much sweeter. It's much better to get them really happy and comfortable with their characters, enjoying them, perhaps getting some nice plot threads before you throw them completely into the danger of the dark. Um, but that said, I've written a scenario for it, and you should be exploring some place on the 5th, and provided the tech gods are kind to us, as I always say, we'll be loading that up on the 6th, so everybody should be able to watch it the day after. If we can get the tech working and we're confident in the technologies, we will do some of these live at some point. But at the moment, not everybody's got brilliant equipment. We do this on a shoestring and goodwill, and it's safer sometimes to pre-record rather than to do it live and for it all to go wrong. And then,
As,
sorry, go on. No, please do.
as fun as rolling up our characters was, we came across quite a few issues doing it.
Mm.
It was brilliant
Yeah,
fun, but it took probably half an hour longer than it should have done due to technical issues.
people's internets go down, etc., etc. It happens. We haven't got, all of us. That's 5 people haven't got professional studio quality equipment, which costs a fortune. We are doing it well, and we will be looking to improve it over time. If we can generate a degree of revenue, that's the main point. But at the moment, we will do our very best with what we've got, and that's all we can do. Um, so Sundays game overs. These are at 8 o'clock, and again, these won't be live, but it's normally me playing a computer game. At the moment, I'm fascinated with Baldur's Gate 3, and I'll be continuing with that. I've died at the end, I think, of each session so far. That's right. There's been 2, I think. Is that right? No, I think I
There's been
survived
three.
one. Yeah, I
You
survived
survived
one.
two.
Yeah. Well, yes. So I'm learning the game, and it can be quite deadly if you a don't read the manual of how to control your characters, and b don't pay attention to what's going on. But I'm very much enjoying it. I can't wait for the full release in August. It's probably going to take me that amount of time to actually get anywhere near the end of the first arc. But the graphics are glorious, and I think, and I've played quite a few video games. I think it's about the closest experience that I've had playing a computer game that is fifth edition. So they've done a tremendous job on it. I'm loving it. Um, so
I've
that's going on.
been very impressed with how they've done all the role playing and character interactions with that. You seem to have a lot of options for pretty much
Yeah,
every conversation.
yeah, and I think they've lent into, if you're playing a charisma based character, you can try and do persuasions. I don't think you scratch the surface. I think you probably need to play as every variation of character, uh, sort of class and of ancestry to kind of find all of the unique dialogues, if you know what I mean. Um, so it's
I'm playing a tiefling paladin. There's been a lot of options just for paladins or specifically tieflings, particularly within the camps. And
yeah, yeah. So it's I think it's very clever, and I'm really enjoying it. And obviously, what they can do, there's the complete game coming out, which I think is going to be substantially larger. And on top of that, there'll be no doubt DLCs and all sorts of other sort of things that they can do. Um, so I'm very much enjoying that, and I'll be doing it, or rather, the videos of me trying to do it will be on Sunday evenings, from 8 o'clock. That's when they technically are uploaded and go live. Um, on the 11th, Tuesday, the 11th of April, this one might be live. We didn't have any tech issues last time. Blades in the Dark. Christian is going to be running Blades in the Dark again. 7 o'clock start. Um, very excited with this. He's been working very hard on the scenario. We've got a great cast again. I think you're jumping into that, Kyle. Is that
I
right?
I really enjoyed watching the last one and was fortunate enough to get to space with this one.
Yeah, it's a great setting. Christian's a great games master. Um, very much looking forward to that, and I'll be playing in that. Then on the 19th, I'm planning to continue the Tales from the Smoke Shadow Dark mini campaign. So provided everything goes well on the 5th, and you as players want to rejoin me again and can rejoin me on the 19th, we're looking to sort of continue that. So it's kind of a bit of a two-parter, maybe more. Um, who knows? But that's what I've got in mind at the moment. And then on the 25th, another Tales from the Smoke, but this time in Feng Shui. So the idea really with Tales from the Smoke is the smoke is this urban um, environment, traditionally a Victorian-esque, fantasy, steampunk-esque kind of setting, but I wanted it to be multiversal, not interconnecting, but different styles, so it could run different systems in it. And Feng Shui is sort of Hong Kong action movie esque, two fist fighting, sort of bullet time, all of that kind of sort of genre, really. So it's going to be an interesting one going from a fantasy environment such as Shadow Dark to this kind of style of game. So the smoke will still have many of the things that you recognize, the guilds, the mercantile companies and the like. But this version of the smoke, if you imagine Gotham, I suppose, sort of the city of Batman. Still those big buildings and gargoyles and whatever. So it's still gothic, still steampunky. But if you imagine that crossed with kind of the the world of John Wick, where there is these hotels that are for assassins and other sort of organisations. That there is these organisations like the Bowery King is kind of like uh, the head of the Beggars Guild, etc., etc. That is the kind of environment that this game, this version of the Smoke, will be set in. I'm running that. We've got some great players for that as well, and I'm very, very excited. It is action movie sort of pace, so it's a fantastic system. And yeah, I've ran it a few times before, never in the Smoke. It's going to be fun to adapt it to that. So I'm very, very excited about that as well. Oh, Kara is. Hiya, Kara. It's a slightly old comment, but all the players are dead now. What a cliffhanger! Yeah, I mean that is most definitely a cliffhanger and a half. So, as well as all the private games that are going on, which can be anywhere, provided people are not away on holiday or poorly, um, can be anywhere between sort of 12 and 15 a week. We've got all of this going on as well. Um, on top of that, in my craziness, I've been looking at the month of April. And the month of April does indeed have two bank holidays in. It has one a week today on Good Friday and one on Easter Monday, which is the 10th. Um, so I'm possibly looking at doing some maybe daytime bank holiday stuff, maybe doing some charity streams. I'm not entirely certain yet, but because a number of games have been postponed this weekend, I've got a little bit of breathing space to have a think. But please keep in touch on Discord to see what is going on, and obviously the 6 o'clock club as well. Um, if we can't get anything going for those two bank holidays, sort of scrolling down my massive calendar of potential things, we've got an early May bank holiday in May on the 1st, plus a bank holiday for the coronation of King Charles III, plus a spring bank holiday on the 29th, Monday the 29th of May as well. So there are an awful lot of bank holiday weekends now. Obviously, bank holiday weekends notoriously mean that people go away, um, but I might do some things on one or more of them that is special. This is the reason why I'm kind of mentioning it now, is because we're at the end of March, going into April, some bank holidays in April, and then some bank holidays in May. So there's a lot to contemplate and consider. Some quite exciting things coming up. Um, the Riddle of Rockwood Bog Kickstarter goes on to sort of mid April. Very excited to see where that goes. Um, if you don't want to kickstart it but just want to have a look at the book, once the Kickstarter's over, we will be looking at kind of putting it up on drive-through RPG and stuff like that, so you can perhaps take a better gander at it then. So plenty of options there as well. Yes, Kyle.
The Kickstarter's doing quite well, isn't it? I think
Oh,
it's
it's yeah.
300% funded or something.
Yeah. It's the Kickstarter's amazing, and the miniatures are absolutely gorgeous. Um, I was in a meeting yesterday with the person who owns Dragon's Forge, and he's kind of green lighted us to do another another one, commissioned us to do another book, another adventure, which we're going to have conversations with over the weekend, myself and Matt. It's based around another range of miniatures, which I have to say are even more amazing. I mean, I love the Dragora Kai, but these ones are just out of this world, both in design and in concept as well. So we might start doing some spoilers of that as well throughout April, depending on how tight they want to keep it. They might want to keep it a secret rather than do promos of it. Um, but you can expect that to be, it's about a 3 month lead time. So it'll be April, May, so probably sometime in June. They're not kind of going to roll it out straight after this one. It gives us plenty of time as well to write the thing, and we'll no doubt be shouting out for play testers as well. So that is another very interesting thing to keep your ear out for.
I will
Um,
happily do that. The Riddle of What Would Bug playthrough we did was brilliant.
yeah.
It was terrifying and always seemed like we were about to die, despite those bad dice rolls, but
Oh, my dice on that
compelling.
night. Seriously, I wish that I'd sort of made it so you could see my dice roll, because my dice rolls were truly shocking. Truly shocking. I mean, yeah, you didn't even scratch the surface of the entirety. You did it. You did the main sort of storyline, but there were a number of encounters cut that you could have interacted with. There were a number of spotlight moments, and there was the entirety of Scratch as well. It's quite an extensive adventure, really. Plenty to do. Um, but in 3 hours, there just isn't the time.
It did leave me wanting more.
Good, good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. If you do want to watch that, it is on video now on our YouTube channel. Just check out the Riddle of Rotwood Bog actual play. Excellent. Right. Well, I think you've heard enough of me for now. It's been a long week. Watch out. I might do something tomorrow night live. I might not, depending on my uh, uh, how tired I am. I've got a lot of other things to sort out as well. But certainly jump into our Discord. You can find us in the comment section below if you are interested in hearing more about any of the things that we've talked about, any of our future plans, or the Eisenfaust Shadow Dark campaign. So for now, I want to say a big thank you to Kyle for joining me and helping me present. It's been a pleasure having you on the 6 o'clock club quite a few times this week, and in many of the games that we've ran this week as well.
Thank you for having me.
That absolute pleasure. Have a great weekend, Kyle. Have a great weekend, everybody in chat. And if you're watching this after the weekend, I hope you've had a great weekend. Uh, Here's me speaking from the past. Um, I think that is about everything I need to say. So it is bye for me now. Stay safe, look after each other.
Bye.